Good afternoon and welcome to Finding the Joy in the Journey. My name is Gina Krupka and I am blessed to be here as the host of Finding the Joy in the Journey. I'm also the host of the Peace Circle and blessed to be part of this beautiful network's prayer team and the spiritual director of CSL Greater Boston. It is a blessing to be here with you today to talk about, of all things, joy. And not because something happened, but because we are. We already are it. It already exists exactly where you are. How much of it you're experiencing at any given moment is because we get to choose what we're paying attention to. We get to choose what aspects of life we're living. See, we're giving everything at birth, and then we go out to seek it as if it's somewhere else. Anywhere you are on this exploration of life, all the way up the mountain, there's a beautiful view. And finding the joy in the journey is about being in that place of recognizing it every step of the way. You will never be where you are again. There are people in your life, circumstances that'll never be the same. So it's important to appreciate where we are. We're in a society of bigger, better, faster, more that's telling us that we need something else to be happy. When the truth is, it starts from the inside out. And on this show, every week, we have different wonderful guests that give us the opportunity of experiencing that in a different way. And today we have a wonderful guest, another member of our New Thought Media team that I am so blessed to be a part of. And Nathen Aswell is actually our guest today, and I'm very excited. And he is a recording artist and inspirational speaker. He's based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And he believes that his calling in this life is to encourage people to live big lives, one small step at a time. His CDs, Little by Little, and Yes, are celebrations of life, transformation, evolution, and oneness of humanity, delivered in a variety of popular music styles. He's a performing songwriter, inspirational speaker, and soon-to-be author. Music and community have always been his two most important aspects of his journey, and he's committed to living a life of loving service. And it is a gift to bring you in. Welcome, Nathen. Welcome to finding the joy in the journey. It is great to have you here. How are you today?
I'm great, Gina. I'm very, very happy to be with you. And I love that your show is called The Joy is the Journey. The Joy is the Journey, Joy in the Journey.
Finding the joy in
Joy
the
is
journey.
in the journey. Yeah. It just ties in with, my credo, which is small steps, big life.
Yes.
Just a perfect connection, those two phrases. So,
And originally it was the joy is in the journey. And then it honestly, I was in meditation one day and spirit just said, it's about finding it. It's already there. It's recognizing it.
yeah,
It's not elusive, but it's amazing how our natural instincts shoot, well, where is it, instead of where is it,
yeah, yeah,
which that's unfortunately that's how a lot of us are taught, but there's always time, right?
absolutely. Here we are
So I
figuring it
am
out.
excited to have you here, and I know you're going to be peppering music, also peppering music all the way through, different types, different styles, and I am so excited about that. I was looking at your website, and I want people to know that they can. I'm going to put this up throughout the whole thing several times. So just so they know, they can reach out to you, and you have all kinds of stuff on there. And the first thing I'm going to ask you is the instrument you play. Tell us a little bit about that because
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah. Every time I perform live, I say, okay, so that I can have your complete attention for the rest of our time together, let me just answer the two questions I get asked most often. First of all, I am not, nor am I in any way, shape, or form related to Simon Cowell. I get a lot of that.
Okay.
Second is this instrument is called a Chapman stick. It was made by a fellow in Los Angeles who, unfortunately for us, just made his transition in November, but his family carries on. Emmett was a guitar player who just took a guitar and thought, okay, I want to come up with a technique of playing, which I guess most of us would say, I would say we've seen people like Eddie Van Halen do, which is, tapping on a guitar with both hands. So Emmett took a guitar and played with the number of strings and the tuning and all that stuff and basically came up with this. He started making them in 1974. And so in 2 years, it'll have been around for 50 years, which is a drop in the bucket compared to the history of guitars or basses, what have you. But it's, anyway, it's a beautiful instrument. And my reason for playing it is I wanted to create as full a sound on my own as possible. So I tell people it's like the stringed equivalent of a piano. I can play two parts at the same time or think of it as a guitar and a bass or whatever. And then I sometimes joke that all I need to do now is to put cymbals in my knees and I'll be a one-man band.
Well, there you go.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And what brought you to music? How long have you been playing or singing, and how long have you been doing this?
Well, the story I love to tell, it's a very, very cherished memory of mine. I'm about 5 or 6 years old, and I was raised Roman Catholic, and I remember standing in the choir loft with my dad. He sang in an all-male choir, and I was about waist high to all the men, of course. And the two things I remember most in that moment are being in the middle of the sound that these men were creating. They were all kind of standing in a circle, and also feeling like I was right in the center of that community. And it was only sometime in the last 10 years when I went, yeah, of course. No wonder music and community are so important to me. That's when the seed got planted, was all the way back then. And so when I think of the highlights in my life since then, the moments where I have felt the most joy, the most connected, the most on track, are when I've been able to combine both of those things together. So that's one answer. I thought my life was going to take a different direction. And up into my early teens, I thought I was going to be an impressionist. I was a huge fan of Rich Little. So I used to stand in front of the television and imitate Rich Little, imitating whomever. And then music got a hold of me really, really hard when I was about 14, and there was no turning back. And so I initially took all that mimicry, and imitated all my favorite singers when I started into the music journey. But yeah, basically since 14, I've been on the music path and I haven't looked back.
Beautiful. I am to me, music just cracks me open. Like there is something about music that touches a part of me emotionally that
Yeah.
words can't. And I hear the lyrics.
Yeah.
I've used that as a meditation process for people. I At one point I worked for Goodwill, and I was working with people that were going from welfare to work. And these were people that have, most of them had never meditated in their lives. So when I said every morning we're going to do a meditation, they looked at me like I had six heads. And I would pick out songs that most of them they knew, and they would have the opportunity to listen, really listen to the words, and songs that they had heard and even sung. They heard these words differently. When you pay attention, music has the ability to heal in amazing ways. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you on that. Do you have something that you can start us off with?
You betcha. Yeah. Before we got together, of course, I was thinking about that. What would I like to offer? And of course, I have some offerings from the show that I do on the New Thought Media Network every Wednesday, morning musings.
I'm going to show them
So
that. That's 11 a.m. Mountain Time.
Yeah.
So it's your time would be Pacific time. So 12 noon, and mine would be 1 on the East Coast. So we're all over the place. Wherever you are in the world, we are here. And even better, it's always available via YouTube or Facebook.
Yes. And I should say that the time has just been changed. It's now an hour earlier.
So okay. So see that after all that.
It's 10 Mountain Time.
Okay.
9 Pacific. 12 your time.
Fair enough.
But anyway, people will find it.
Yes, absolutely.
If they go to my website, they can find it, and I have all of them on my YouTube channel, so they can watch it anytime.
Beautiful.
So, the first one that I want to share with you is called "Let Go, Walk On," and it was inspired by a Buddhist quote. I don't have it in front of me right now, but that doesn't matter.
I'm still here. I just want to listen and enjoy.
Sure. Okay. The chant was inspired by a Buddhist quote. Every chant that I create for morning musings is inspired by a quote that I found from somewhere, and then I just set it to music. And so the words to this are very simple. It's when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. When I let go of what I have, I receive what I need. And thanks to the wonder of technology, I've been having more and more fun creating multi-part chants. And so this is one of those. The other two parts are very simple. I'm just singing "Let Go, Walk On" in the other parts. And then in the third part, I'm going to sing the words that I just recited to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce each of the parts. And if you're watching and you'd like to sing along, please feel free to do so. All the parts are very simple, very repetitive. And then I'll bring it back down to the initial part. So here we go. This is called "Let Go, Walk On." Just gonna call up the band. Here they are. Let go, walk on. 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 When I let go of what I am, let go, walk on. I become what I might
So beautiful.
Hmm.
And it's so true.
Yeah,
So true.
yeah.
So, have you practiced Buddhism for long?
No, well, that's a very interesting question, Gina. I grew up Roman Catholic, and it was my whole life. Coming back to that memory that I shared before about with my dad. Up until my early 20s, it was my whole life. It was my social circle. And then I got to my early 20s, and I thought, no, I I felt like I was outgrowing it. It felt like this picture of reality is too confining. It feels like too many are excluded from it, or my picture of it. And so I decided to search out other paths and see how they felt. And out of all the things that came my way, Buddhism felt like the closest fit. And then I thought, with no disrespect to any path or to anyone, but I just thought, gee, we humans, we take a really good idea and we like to muck it up, don't we? So who knows what Jesus actually said? Who knows what Buddha actually said? And I thought, I'm just going to continue to walk my path and be open to any and every source of truth. And of course, that as I went on, truth is truth in whatever shape it takes, right?
So true.
So a good friend of mine in Montreal coined a term to describe himself, which I really like and I really identify with: cosmic orphan. So we are completely connected to everyone and everything, and we are on our own unique path.
So, cosmic prayer was perfect for you when you were visiting with Laura on her show. I love that, cosmic orphan. Part of what attracts me so much to Centers of Spiritual Living was the fact that we believe in everything. There is no against.
Yep.
We get the opportunity to use every spiritual teaching and know that there's good in everything that we read.
Yep.
And it's all what feels like home to us. There is no against in any way. I too was raised Catholic, and I felt the same way that, there were certain parts that I wouldn't repeat. That they would say and I wouldn't say, because I'm like, no, I don't believe that. And that
Yep.
was as a child.
Yep.
And as time went on, I had to, it takes a certain spiritual maturity to say, give myself the okay to look, to realize that I get the opportunity to see what's out there and kind of go and say, well, what's going to happen? And really feel, that feeling of that home. When I walked into CSL the first time, it
Yep.
called to me, it found me. 3 different people said, you love my church. And I thought, what? Who says that?
Yep.
And then finally, the third person I showed up. So I agree with you that there's teachings in everything that just feel like home.
Yep.
And that's, it's poetry. It's poetry in motion.
And can I ask you a question? The 3 people that suggested CSL to you, did they know each other?
No. Well, they knew
Exactly.
each other in the center. Our
Right.
center wasn't that, but I didn't know that they knew each other.
Right.
They were from different parts of my life.
Right.
So, they were significant members of the community, but I didn't know the
Yeah.
community. And it's all unfolded. Of course, it's all, synchronicity.
Yeah.
Spirit is perfect that way.
I just wanted to mention that because I love when that happens. Something comes up in our awareness, and then from a seemingly completely disconnected source, it comes in again from somewhere else, and then sometimes
about
3,
3
4
or 4
times.
months, when I
Yeah.
finally was at that place that I was ready to seek. When I was ready to seek, they called me.
Yep.
Different parts, one was through work, one was through actually Toastmasters of all things. And then I had another one from, it was a client of mine. So it was one of those things that just worked the way that it worked. And the third person, I'm like, well, what time on Sunday? To me, that when you get that third reminder, how much more do you need?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like, okay, got it. I got it. I'll be there.
So, what inspires you? When you're writing a song, is it reading a scripture? What inspires you?
Well, words, I really, really resonate with what you said earlier. Words are extremely important to me. And, as is probably the case with every songwriter, for a while, all the songs that we hear are reflecting our experience somehow. We become the protagonist, or gee, they're really voicing what I'm feeling, and we feel that, and then we get to a point that it's like there's nobody that's really saying what I need to say or what I want to say, and so then we feel pushed, pulled, called, whatever word you want to use, to start writing our own things. So I guess that's what got me started. And then after I'd been writing for a little while, then it was like, okay, well, I really want to write about things that count. I really want to write about things that uplift me, inspire other people, and so it became all that. And then when I started doing the morning musing show, I've done. It's amazing to me now. I've done, I think it's 77 chants now. I started it in August of 20. And at first I can't remember what I was, whatever, some thought would come into my head, and that would be the basis of the chant. Then for the entire year of 2021, I used the 12 powers that were created by Charles Fillmore, the founder of Unity Church. I used each of the 12 powers for the 12 months of the year and created the chants that way. And then I got to 2022 and I thought, okay, so what will be my inspiration now? And after thinking about it for a few weeks, I thought, I get inspirational quotes all the time, every day in some cases, weekly in other cases, but there's always something that shows up at the perfect time. And I go, yep. And what happens is I'll see the words and a melody will come to me. I'll say, okay, that's what it is for this week. And to come back to something you said earlier, it seems to me that the ones that are more often speaking to me these days are more of the Eastern traditions, Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism. So, but certainly not confined to that. But that's just what's happening these days.
I think that there's a deepness to them that we can't conceive in Western life. I think there's a stillness. They understood the concept of being, where we practice so much doing. They understand the beingness of, and we're corrupting them. It's not to say that we're changing them so that they're working 100 hours a week, but it's more the concept of ancestors, and there's an honoring to life itself that's different than I was raised with.
Yep.
And there's a lot to be said about that too.
Yep. Well, that sounds like a perfect spot for me to play another song, because this is actually a chant I just wrote. It was last Wednesday's chant. It was inspired by the I Ching. And this month, February, the month of love, I've been thinking about that. And last week I thought, what about self-love? Because I don't know about you, but I have, and certainly many people that I know, continue to just be feeling all kinds of things because of COVID, burnt out, and frustrated, tired, all that stuff. And
the should, would, coulds, oftentimes.
Mm-hmm. So something about self-love seemed appropriate, and I decided to just look through my entire English translation of the I Ching to see. I didn't draw an I Ching. I just read all the descriptions of all the hexagrams, and one of them jumped out at me, and I thought, yeah, that's the one. And my theme, I always have a yearly theme, and my theme for 2022 is simplicity. So my chants are also getting simpler and simpler. So I'm saying that because I'd like to share it with you now. It's called Keep Still as a Mountain, and that's the only line that we just repeat over and over again. And we're speaking about stillness, and so it just seems right to kind of inject a little bit of that. So let me share that with everybody. Let me just get the band going here. And if anybody wants to know what I'm doing here, I'll be glad to talk to you about that, Gina, or people can email me and I can talk to. What I'm doing is actually very simple. I just like playing. I miss playing with other humans. So I've found a way to create some nice percussion chants and sometimes record other of my voices just to create as big a full of sound as I can. So here's Keep Still as a Mountain. as a mountain. Keep still 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 as a mountain.
Beautiful. It is incredibly peaceful music. I was actually on your YouTube channel, and your website is beautiful. I encourage people to take a look at his website and join your mailing list. You actually have free MP3 downloads that goes along with that. So to go to your website and sign up for your mailing list, and also take a look because you've got a lot of places. And the irony of keep still as a mountain, sometimes the reach is so much further. This past year, Spirit's got a sense of humor by far, because I had several years of trying and doing. Oh, well, most of my life I was that human doing, and really felt like I was getting nowhere. And this year, between finishing up ministerial school and this network and all that's going on there, and I'm now running a center, and so much is happening from my living room, the majority of it.
Yeah.
The center's in person on Sunday, but so it's amazing that you can be still and get so much done without ever walking out the door, when in the past it felt like there was nothing. You could run but get nothing accomplished.
Well, that's been the blessing. There have been a couple of very big blessings for me that have come out of this pandemic, and one is, I mean, if I wanted to go to serve you, I'd have to get on a plane and fly all the way across the country, my country and your country, to get there, and places to stay and all that kind of stuff. And now, all I have to do is sit down at my desk and connect with you on Zoom or StreamYard or one of a number of different streaming services, and I'm there. So as I was saying before we started today, I'm now blessed to be able to serve several centers on the same Sunday because I don't have to physically be there.
Yeah, two or three different Sundays. I'm looking at your list, and you're everywhere. And that, Centers for Spiritual Living and Unity, and the gift is as I'm going through, the list, I'm thinking how wonderful that there are so many organizations now, because New Thought is a wide umbrella.
Yep.
And it really is a beautiful thing that we are, we're coming alive in a different way because of this.
Yep.
And I think it's a wonderful, I think it was the kick that we needed to get some of our older centers to kind of step up. So there's the unfortunately, the younger generation is born cable ready. That's how I look at it. And they know how to do all this thing. But some of our elders really were apprehensive about it. And this made everyone stand up and change.
Yeah.
Either you either changed or you weren't there. So it's amazing that, the gift that this has offered us, because we now get to step into the worldview where right now there's not a lot of new thought across the world, as far as our centers go, but it's going to grow as we grow, because this is a worldwide platform.
Yeah, because now we're not
like
limited.
You,
we're
and
not
it resides with them.
We're not limited by geography anymore. The hybrid service is here to stay. Meeting in person, certainly nothing will ever replace that. And how can you go wrong? You being in Boston, your service can be seen anywhere in the world. That's what a gift that is.
And here you are in Vancouver. You're in Vancouver right now.
Yep.
So it's amazing. It's that oneness that we talk about, that we are practicing every day now in different ways, which is a gift. That reminder, to be able to just be in the presence, and it doesn't matter where we are being it. We're it. It doesn't matter. It's no have tos anymore, and that's a gift to me.
Yep.
So you have 2 beautiful albums. What's next on your horizon?
Well, that's a very good question, Gina, because in this day and age, what do we musicians do with our product? Who's buying music now? Everyone listens to music on Spotify and Apple Music and whatever. So I've created an awful lot of music in the last year and a half, and people aren't buying CDs anymore. You can't even get a computer with a CD drive in it anymore. So I've been sitting with that, and I'm not quite clear what to do. I think what I'm going to do is put the MP3s on my site as well as sheet music for each of the songs, and then people can just buy what they'd like, because they are so simple. I would very much hope that people would want to sing them and or perform them in their centers or what have you. But I think that's the way to go. So yeah, sometime within this year, my plan will be to take what I consider the best of what I've created over the last year. Or, I don't think, of course some of them are better than others. But yeah, take some of them and make them available that way. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Have people, in the same way that people don't listen to an entire album's worth of songs anymore. Remember albums? People now tend to listen to single songs. So singles are much more appealing, I think, to people these days. So yeah, to be able to make songs available on an individual basis, I think is the way to go.
So it makes it a challenge for some indie artists to be able to just put that MP3 out there, to be able to put that there. There are platforms to download from, and I know that, and it's important for us to remember, and I'm putting a shout out there to make sure people can go. Do you have a site on your website? I didn't notice it, but to be able to support you, is there do you have a Venmo or a PayPal account that's on your site?
Yeah, I have a music store page, so people can hear excerpts of the CDs, and I also have a SoundCloud page, which has where people can hear the music. So,
and it's important that we support our artists, because the New Thought community, the artists have been incredible. It's just our music is such a big part. We're not like, I know when I was growing up, yes, they played music, but it was very like, eh. And it was, in Catholic Church, it was just the same old, same old. Mine wasn't fun. We didn't have most of the time, it wasn't the choir. There wasn't all of that. Our music just really gets into my soul in an amazing way. And it's so much a part of everything we do. The Peace Circle is half music on Monday nights, because it is that time to reflect and listen and allow those words to settle in. And, it's so important. and every artist stepped up and was willing, like you, to show up for whatever centers asked them, and let us play your music, and let us celebrate to your music, which is such a gift. So I encourage anybody watching, make sure that you are going on their websites and really supporting our artists, because you are part of how we've gotten through and are able to go from being in person, only, to doing this in a different way. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Thank you for that. And if I may do so, every time I do a chant on Wednesday, I always say at the end that I consider creating those chants my right livelihood, and if people would like to make a donation to me, I always include that information underneath the chant in the YouTube description underneath. So yeah, and I think I've seen some people. Karen Drucker, you mentioned Karen Drucker before we started recording. Karen Drucker, good friend of mine, fantastically talented person. Of course, she has a donate button on her page. I don't feel brave enough to do that yet, but
Feel free.
There are
Asking
ways.
it is given.
Yeah.
Asking it is given. And it's important for us to look at things. It's just simply about the way we look at things. And when we go into a store, or we have a service that is done for us, somebody fixes whatever in our home, or we take our car to get fixed, there's a service there. Well, it's the same thing where we're being uplifted. It's the same thing when you're listening to music. You used to have to buy CDs, and now it's wonderful that indie artists get the opportunity to be out there and record and be out there in an easier way.
Yep.
And it's important that we remember everything is reciprocity. And what is given, we give back.
Yep.
Because it flows more to us that way. It's just how it works.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. When we give, we receive.
Yep. Well said.
Now, what brings you joy? And music, of course, is a given. What else in your life brings you joy?
Well, okay. Let's see if I can get through this without crying. Hang on.
Tears are welcome here. Tears are absolutely welcome here. It means the heart's wide open. Vulnerability is beautiful.
I cry very easily, and it's funny. I used to make, I was telling my wife this recently. I used to make fun of my mom. We'd watch television, and I'd look over at her at the end of anything, and she, you could see how her eyes were glassy, and we'd always make fun of her. And now
commercials,
I'm exactly the same way.
Even commercials, everything. I am so sappy. I love it.
So, what gives me joy? Well, this feels like a good time to talk to you about something. I will answer it, and then I will give you a couple of very big examples of it. Simplicity is what gives me joy. Living simply, being present, being as present as possible. Making music with others. I mean, it's just divine. I can't really imagine much more that's better than that. To be in my body is a better answer. Anything I can do to get me out of my head and into my body. So making music, I love to run. I love to be outside. Any of those kinds of things. And let me tell you about a very special thing that gave me a lot of joy. In September and October of 2019, I walked across Spain. I did the Camino de Santiago journey, which is about 800 kilometers, 500 miles.
Wow.
And I was gone for 40 days, walked for pretty much all of those days. And it was a life-changing experience. And there's so much I could say. Well, I'm writing a book about it. That's what my book is about. My book is about that experience and how it changed me. But what I want to share in this moment is I got to a point at the end of the journey where I was at a very, very, very windy spot. So windy, in fact, I was wearing a poncho. I literally thought I was going to take flight. It was that windy. And I stood there. The name of the place was Finisterre, which is Spanish for end of the world, because before North America was discovered, they thought it was the end of the world. And I remember standing there on that blustery, blustery day with my arms out at the risk of taking flight. And I just kept repeating over and over again, winds of Finisterre, wash me clean and make me whole. My desire in walking the Camino was to come back lighter. There's another spot on the Camino. It's the French Camino, I should say. There are actually several Camino routes, but the one I walked was the one most people are aware of. It's the French Camino. About 2/3 of the way through, there's a spot called the Cruz de Ferro, the Iron Cross. And the cross is at the top of this mound of things that had been left behind by previous travelers, rocks, shoes, photographs. And it's an opportunity to leave something behind, either in memory of someone else or something that you're wanting to release. And so I brought a rock from home here, from Vancouver, carried it with me in my pack and dropped it at that spot. And what I chose to get rid of was all limiting thinking, all thoughts of lack. So the combination of that moment and the moment I just described earlier, where I was reciting that prayer over and over again, I believe that my prayers were answered, because I came home and I thought, I want my life to look more like that. I want my life to look more like the simplicity and the freedom that I felt in that trek. So I made some decisions to simplify my life. I moved into a new apartment. And I love purging. I love getting rid of things, because I don't know if I'm assuming most people listening to this can relate to that sense of lightness that you feel on other levels of your being besides physical. When you get rid of physical possessions, there is definitely a lightness, an increased sense of lightness on an emotional level, spiritual level. 8 days after I moved into my new place, I met the love of my life. And as I'm fond of saying, and I am completely serious about this, completely clear about this, my heart recognized her immediately. And there's no doubt in my mind that that happened because of the clarity and the freedom and the lightness that came out of walking the Camino. So we met on February 22nd. I haven't even known her for 2 years yet, but coming up pretty soon, 10 days from now. I met her on February 22nd at a gig. We started seeing each other just as COVID began. So the blessing of COVID was we were given an incredible amount of time to get to know each other, because all of her work went out the window. All of my work went out the window. 6 weeks after we were together, I proposed on May 1st, and we were married on winter solstice. So we've already been married for over a year.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it all. Thank you for sharing that. And I have to tell you, I knew in a month, without a doubt in my mind, if it even took that long, that my husband would be the person I'd spend my life with as well.
Yeah.
I was certain. I often think when people say, well, how do you know? If you don't know, then you don't know. Then the answer is no. That's my gut anyway. I mean, I know everybody is different, but that I love love. So that's a beautiful story. And you prepared yourself and prepared your life for. And that's so important, that we open a space. It is the practical way of, sometimes it's a physical clearing and opening space. I know the first time I ever got that visual was the movie The Secret, where they showed you to, open up, sleep on your own half of the bed, open up a space, open up a drawer, move the clothes over in the closet. And it really, when you're opening up your mind and your space for, it gives an opportunity for spirit to work. Because when we're closed and we think we've got it, there's no room. There's got to be a song that goes with that one.
As a matter of fact, there is. I was just thinking about that. There's a song of mine called Be Still, which I love to sing. And perhaps in the interest of time, I won't play it all. I'll play, just some of it. Yeah, I think it fits in well with what we're talking about. It's called Be Still.
Be still and know is actually my favorite scripture. That's my favorite verse. So I love it. Love it already.
There you go. This, the chorus in this is, let wisdom come quietly into your heart. Be still and find peace in your soul. Be still. break. Let all the rest wait. Allow here and now to unfold. Let wisdom come quietly in to your heart. Be still and find peace in your soul. Everything has its own season. Everything has its own place. Everything has its own purpose, its own grace. Like a happy smiling baby playing with a favorite toy, we are here to know and savor complete joy. So stop, take a break, let all the rest wait. Allow here and now to unfold. Let wisdom come quietly into your heart. Be still, find peace in your soul. So stop and be still. Stop, be still. Stop.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you so much.
My great pleasure.
And it just we're just blessed that I really do appreciate you being here, and really it's amazing to me how fast the time goes. We're almost at that hour, and I've loved all of the music and the sentiment and the meaning, and how much of yourself, the authenticity that you share from it, is a gift as well. So thank you for doing that, and I encourage people to really be in that place of not only to go see the morning musings that are on your site, but also to make the time and go to your YouTube channel as well. And even better, I encourage them to go, and on your page you have a way that they can purchase your CDs, and you can get them to them. So go right to your website, and that you can get his music sent to you directly. Even better. And actually support our artists, which is such an important thing that we need to do. So I encourage you, and this network gives us an opportunity to be able to shine good to the world. So on that same note, I want to just make sure people know that ntmedia.org, we are here. This platform is run. People don't realize that we do these shows, your morning musing. We do all of these shows. It's all here because we want to share good news with the world. It's not for money. It's not for, the fanfare. NT Media itself is supported by you because of the viewers. That's how it's able to go and be, so what a gift it is to be part of this circulation. And when it comes to finding the joy in your journey, is there anything else you want to say or want to share with people in your experience or anything at all? What's on your heart?
To just, and I say this, believe me, I say this as much to myself as to anybody who's listening. The importance of just being here, the importance of being in the present, to embrace being in the present as fully as we possibly can. How many of us, rhetorical question, I think we all spend too much time in the past, too much time in the future. And that doesn't leave a whole lot of attention left for the most important moment, which of course is the only moment, the one that's right here. So yeah,
The present.
remember
That's
to
why
be.
it's called that, right? It's the gift.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
an encouragement to all of us to just be as present as we possibly can, and that can, that could be as simple as just in this breath, just stopping and taking a breath. In a bank lineup, waiting at a red light, at a grocery store, just notice your breath. As simple as that. Doesn't have to be any more complicated than that.
and we get to be a blessing. That's the other thing. We get the opportunity to be the blessing. Sometimes in those lines where when we're angry, we know everybody around us is annoyed too. We get to be a blessing. Simply smiling at people and saying good morning changes their day. But even more, it changes ours because we receive one back.
Yep.
Everything is a choice in how it is we look at things.
Yep.
And, we bring it into it, so that pause or that smile. One of the first things that I noticed when I was listening to your music is you have a peace about you. The way you speak, your presence is so peaceful. And I appreciate that because I don't have, I have enthusiasm and I'm excited about life, and that's not a question. But that peace, we all have every attribute within us. And when something resides, when you see in something, it's in us. It's a divine quality. Therefore, it's got to be in me. So when we recognize it in someone, it's because it's crying out within us.
Yeah.
So I
Beautifully
thank
said.
you for that.
Thank you. Well, and believe me, my wife will certainly tell you that, there are there are moments when I am not. So I am happy that I am able to, for my own benefit as well as for anybody who would listen to anything that I create, it's certainly part of my healing. And if that helps other people to heal, to hear the music that I create from that place, that's wonderful. There is one other thing I'd like to say, Gina. I know we're
Absolutely.
running long. Another decision I made, which really continues to have a profound effect on me, is deciding to live with full accountability. And when I made that decision, blame went out the window. And boy, there's nothing that takes the wind out of the sails of an argument faster than not being able to blame someone. So yeah, I very much believe, and I've certainly experienced this on the Camino in a major way. And as I do everywhere, when I am present enough to notice it, everyone is a mirror. Everyone is here to teach us something. Everyone is a call to remember our divinity, our oneness, our completeness, our wholeness. And being able to do that more and more easily has changed my life. If anything rattles my cage, it's like, okay, what a gift that person, that, whatever that moment is. It's giving me an opportunity to notice that I, for some reason, have checked out. I'm not present. Okay, remember the breath. Apologize. Forgive myself. Those things, Yeah, that's been a very powerful tool.
For me, I call that the rumble strip. the
Oh,
rumble strip of life. That if
nice.
I am feeling angry or sad or whatever the emotion is that I don't want, it means I need to go back to center. It's hitting that rumble strip. And I don't, of course, it's not comfortable to drive on the rumble strip of life. So it's going back to center. It's just going back to center.
Nice.
So thank you so much for being here. And I'd love for you to come back. Actually, I've already asked him to come to the Peace Circle so
You
he can
bet.
play even more music.
And there's just one tiny little thing left I want to say, and that is, it's funny. I feel it's important for me to say this. I've sung in rock bands for years, and people who have heard me do the kind of music that I've been sharing with you for the last hour, when they hear that side of me, they're just like, "Oh my God, I had no idea." And all the people who know me as a rocker, when they hear this, they say, "Oh my God, I had no." So all that to say, we're out of time, but definitely on my CD, there are songs that really kind of showcase more of that kind of energy. So there are some very uplifting and spirited songs, as well as things that are very contemplative. So.
See, now I love rock music. So now I really want to hear more. Wonderful. Thanks so much for being here.
My great
And
pleasure,
you're
Gina.
truly a blessing. And I am grateful to all of you for watching us today. Thank you for being here with us. And know that it is about finding the joy in the journey, because right here, right now, it is always accessible. So thank you, Nathan, for being a blessing. And thank you all for being blessings in my life as well. You are each gifts. Know that I love you, Spirit loves you, and that life itself loves you. And I can't wait to see what happens. Blessings and love to all. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.